this video, we're going to go over Excel basics, and this is a continuation of a multi-part series. And the focus of this video is just some miscellaneous features like page breaks and page setup and things like that. So let's say we want to put a page break in so that the data flows the way we want. What we can do is we can click on a cell, and then we can go up to page layout and then go to breaks and then insert page break. And what that will do is set it up so that the data here above will be on one page, and then there's a hard break, and then data will continue. And we can see that by going into the preview button here, and we can see that there's in fact the first bit of data, and then there's where the page break is. You can also remove page breaks by just clicking on remove page break. And the page break you can set on a different cell so that it actually will break both on the columns and the rows. So if I highlight this cell here and then do a break, insert page break, then basically it's going to put a break to the top and to the left of the cell. And so now if I go back to my preview here, I'll see that the data is got a split or a break at that location. Okay, so what I can do also is if I want to just remove all breaks, I can click on here and say reset all page breaks. And another thing that's kind of interesting that you can do is if you go to view, you can see a page break preview, and it will show you where the breaks on the data is. And you can change the zoom by clicking, like for instance 100% here, or you can do the zoom to selection or change the zoom. But the interesting thing is you can actually click and drag these breaks to where you want. That's what the page break preview is for. If you want to go back to normal, just click normal. Now another thing you might want to do is have data or a title, for instance, go across multiple columns. So what you do is, let's say we have a title. We're going to insert a row here, and we're just going to put a title. And maybe we want that title to have different properties, like it to be bold and maybe a different font size. Let's say we want that to be centered across all of these columns. All you do is you highlight all the columns that you want it to be centered across, and then click merge and center. And that will basically merge the columns into one and also center the data. Now another thing you might want to do is, let's say we don't want this data off here to the right to print. So let's say all we want is this data here to print. We can go to page layout after we highlight it, and then go to print area and then click on set print area. And now the only thing that will print is just this data that we have highlighted. And if you want to take the print areas off, you just click on clear print area. Now one of the other things that's important is how to change the page setup. So there's a couple ways to get there, but if you go to this page layout tab and then click on this little icon at the corner here for page setup right there, it'll bring up the window and you can change all kinds of things. For instance, the orientation, the scaling, which means let's say we want all the columns to fit on one page, so one page wide, and then you can take out the number and it will just make it as many pages or rows tall as it needs to be. Or you can just adjust it to a certain scale. You can make it 115%, whatever you want to do there. The margins, you can change the margins on the top left, bottom and right, and also the header. And you can, a nice thing that you can do here is center the data horizontally on a page, so sometimes that's neat to do. And then as far as the header and footer goes, there are some common headers and footers, but you can click on custom header and you can give a left, center, or right area. So we'll just say header here, and then you can highlight it and make it whatever font you want. So we can make it bold, and we can make it 22 points, and then hit OK. And the footer does exactly the same thing. So we can click on custom footer and we can create a footer down there. What you might want to do in here is for the right section, you can do, for instance, like page, and then you could put a page number, and then you could do of, and then the number of pages here. And that will create a nice little footer for you. And so you can click OK. And so now if we preview that, we see that the only thing that prints is what we have highlighted. We have our header and we have our footer. The last thing I want to show you with this page setup is sometimes we want so many rows that we want the header or the titles to repeat at top. So you can click on print titles here, and then it just opens up the page setup window and goes to the sheet tab, and then under print titles you can click in rows to repeat at top, click the little icon and highlight row 2 in this case, and then click the icon and then do it OK. And so what that means is if we had thousands of rows on every page, this information would repeat at top. So that's a few things about Excel miscellaneous features.